Yes, we're on, we're live. Thank you, everybody who's joined us today. If you're watching this on repeat, thank you for taking time. Great to have you here, and really excited today because we've got another one of our vendor interviewees on with us. Today we're speaking with Jamie Swales from BMC, but before we get Jamie on the stage, just a very quick intro for those of you who don't know who the heck we are. I'm Daniel Gilby, account manager here at Xcession. Just very quickly on Xcession. Xcession are a consulting solutions implementation partner for all things ITSM and ESM. We do a whole lot more. Get in touch if you'd like to find out what those things might be. I'm joined with my co-host, my colleague, Sunil. Sunil, if you'd like to give a quick intro to those who've not joined before, that'd be great.
Hi, everybody, co-host and colleague, all wrapped up in one. So I'm Sunil Dougal, so I'm the CRO of Xcession. My background has been for the last more than 10 years, been working with customers who are looking to do more with their ITSM and ESM solutions. So I'm super pleased to have someone from BMC with us.
Yep, and without further ado, Jamie, welcome. Really pleased to be here with you today. We're grilling on all things BMC. But Jamie, if you'd like to just give a quick intro to the audience, that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing, Dan. Hey, Sunil, nice to be here. So, hi everyone, my name is Jamie Swales and I work for BMC. I've been at BMC for just over 9 years now. Before that, worked at IBM, so I had a good stint in a very much a service management, service delivery background. Joined BMC as in customer success, having been a tool owner for a big enterprise customer, one of the tools being Remedy. So that was kind of the foot in the door into customer success at BMC. I had a big stint in pre-sales as a solution engineer, moved into account management, and then more recently into my current gig, which is sales manager supporting the DSOM, or Digital Service and Operations Management, part of the business for Northern Europe. So that is me in a nutshell, Dan.
Okay, so it's quite a solid grounding in the ITSM space, I'd suggest, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's very much in service management, service delivery, and throughout my time gaining more experience, obviously working with lots of customers in the ops management space as well.
Well, I can corroborate that Jamie is exactly the right guy to have on this conversation, because I've seen him in action both as a pre-sales or solution engineer and as an account director for some very heavily BMC invested and successful implementations of BMC technology. So if Jamie doesn't know it, no one knows it.
Very kind of you to say, Daniel. And the scratch cards are in the post, sir. Thank you.
Excellent. Just make sure they're the winning ones. So Dan, can we ask a question of Jamie?
I think that would be great. So now I know you had one lined up, so let's fire away.
Indeed. So Jamie, you mentioned Remedy. So BMC is one of the longest running, if not the longest running vendors of IT service management, enterprise service management technology out there. And the market has moved a long way in that period of ownership. And BMC, I think, has gone through some reinvention over the last sort of 5 or so years as BMC has itself been owned by different organizations. So I guess let's set the scene for anybody out there in the marketplace that is either an existing BMC customer but is looking to the future, or is perhaps considering BMC as a service management solution. How do you see or BMC's positioning in the marketplace today?
Yes, it's a great question, and you've touched upon a few things in that question, Sunil. But yeah, just kind of starting with our heritage. So we've been around for over 40 years, and it's something that we're very proud of, being an enterprise multi-billion-dollar software company that's managed to survive through so much change over those 40 years. And in order to do that, like you've mentioned, we've had to reinvent, and it's not just over the last 5 years. I'd say we've constantly had to reinvent throughout that period. Now we've got amazing heritage, as you mentioned, within the service management space. I'd also say as well, very much within the operations management space as well, amongst other areas. So, you know, just to make reference to it, and only that, we also have capabilities within the mainframe space, within data orchestration with our Control M suite. Very much not my area of expertise, so that's probably the last time that we're going to touch upon that today. But yeah, so we've certainly got all this heritage from the service management side, from the operations management side, and that experience has very much brought us to where we are today in revolutionizing our platform we call Helix today. And we can get into what that means, but it's very much bringing the heritage and experience of service and operations management along with new innovation that we're bringing to the market at a rate of knots into part of our vision, which is service ops.
So with that in mind, who do you think, you know, when you are, so you're engaged, aren't you, Jamie, in a, you know, day-to-day, week-to-week basis with both customers and prospects, people who are looking at the BMC toolset. When you look at an organization, what are the kind of challenges that, you know, get you excited, that make you think that, do you know what, the BMC solution is exactly the right one for that type of organization, or those challenges they're facing?
Yeah, it's quite a, you know, there's no one answer, the succinct answer that's going to give you what you want. I think that's an L, because the fact that we have a very broad set of capabilities, the fact that we serve customers in every vertical across many countries within the world, you know, kind of lets you, it sort of answers the question in itself that we've got broad enterprise service management capabilities that can, you know, serve different customers very well in different industries. We've got very advanced IT service management and ops management capabilities that can do the same thing. But let me have a stab at answering it. So, I mean, in general, the way that I would categorize how we bring value to our customers and solve some of those issues that customers have is 5 or 6 different areas. So the first would be end user transformation. So if they're wanting to transform how their end users interact with shared services or with IT services, that's definitely an area that would get me excited. I'm thinking how make them more efficient, more productive, self-service, omni-channel, to just drop in a few buzzwords. So that's definitely one. The next would be if an organization wants to be more agile or more operationally efficient. So this is like right in our sweet spot, you know, driving automation across manual tasks and you know, providing them with the right information at the right time to make them more productive and efficient in what they do. So that's definitely one area. Tool consolidation is one. You know, as I mentioned, the breadth of the platform means that we can often consolidate multiple different kind of point solutions to give a more strategic offering. Service resilience is another big area. You know, I'm sure we'll dip into some of our capabilities within AI Ops, but it's a key element of our service ops overarching strategy. But, you know, if a customer has issues with performance and availability of their IT services, be it IT services that they're wanting to provide internally or with their go-to-market applications for their customers, if there's any sort of struggle with performance and availability within those areas, we can absolutely help within that space. And then the one that is very much in lots of customers' agendas, as it is with ours, is carbon emission reduction. So, you know, we've got offerings within our portfolios that will help customers to reduce that with things like with capacity optimization, for example. Amongst other things. So yeah, hopefully that goes away in answering your question. End user transformation, operational efficiency, tool consolidation, service resilience, and reduce carbon emissions.
Yeah. Sorry, Dan, go.
No, I was just going to say that's a very interesting point. The one at the end there, the kind of the green angle, if you like. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. If you've got an example, perhaps you could share. Or if you haven't, it's a Control M question, I'm afraid, Jamie.
Well, yeah, I'm sure Control M can help in that space, but just to kind of give some a pointed use case. So we've got very advanced discovery capabilities, and we've got published reports. We've got examples of customers that have managed to significantly reduce their environments. So there's a term called zombie IT. It's called other things, but think servers that are sat there doing nothing other than serving a purpose. Perhaps they're patched, perhaps the server team knows exactly the host name, but they don't know what task it's performing. So we can come in quite quickly and discern, are there any applications that are running on those? And if not, we can help to decommission them. And just to put a percentage on that, the average that we see is around 8%. So if you haven't come out and scanned your environment, on average, we're going to be able to decommission 8% of that environment. So you then try and quantify that, which we've done with customers, and it's kind of a bit of an abstract concept in some regards, which I've been learning as we go. If you get rid of X percentage of servers, is it the equivalent of a fart from a cow, or is it something more substantial? And for one customer, we've calculated that it was the equivalent of running a jumbo jet around the globe, for 2 solid years, is the carbon emissions that we've managed to save.
Wow.
So, and that's one use case. As I mentioned, lots of capabilities on the capacity optimization side as well, which net will do the same thing, but just at a more advanced level.
That's great, because you've not only got the green aspect to that, where carbon emissions very, very important, certainly. But if you're decommissioning 8% of your server estate or your infrastructure estate, licensing costs, power costs, there's a huge saving there across the board, right? I'd argue.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that the carbon side of things is fascinating, and I'm not sure anyone has mentioned that to us before, have they, Dan? So well done, Jamie. Big tick there. But if we take your other sort of 4 areas, so customer or end user transformation, so improving experience there. You talk about business agility and automation efficiency. You talked about resilience, or I guess we could sort of maybe talk about risk management, and then sort of availability, infrastructure management, that kind of thing. Do you think, because one of the comments that we have heard from customers out there, and I'd love to get your view on it, is, do you think that an organization needs to have a relatively high level of maturity, an relatively high existing level of maturity, to be able to adopt and leverage BMC solutions to really drive the value out? And I'll give you a counterpoint here, which is, ServiceNow has done very well in the world out there, but in reality, it's increasingly difficult, I would say, for an organization without a large investment to be able to really wring the value out of ServiceNow. Do you think that maybe something similar applies from a maturity perspective and the BMC?
Yeah. So to answer the first part of your question, do I think an organization needs to have a certain level of maturity before implementing and getting value from a technology stack such as BMC? I can see I've lost my cat. Am I still with you guys?
Yeah, still here.
Cool. Okay. So the answer to that would be no. Okay. I think you don't have to have an existing level of maturity, and we work with customers that are very immature across, or as a starting point from a service and ops management. What you do need to have is firstly the desire to drive higher levels of maturity into service and ops management. If you want, to have a solution that's going to drive some workflow that will, require some manual intervention along the way, and you don't really want to get to high levels of automation and maturity within service and operations management, I would say BMC isn't the technology stack for you. And there are various things that we can talk about which help our customers to adopt and to get value from the solution themselves, but it still requires investment in time and education to just to keep up with the rate of how we're innovating. We release 4 or 2 major releases, 4 releases per year, and even more in some areas of our technology stack. And we are innovating at the rate of knots. So if you want to keep up with that, you can't just buy a solution and not want to invest time into getting the value from it.
So it's not so much starting point, but ambition, really. I think
that's what I'd say, for sure.
And I think that's really interesting because, as I say, and maybe it's by virtue of customers who are increasingly mature, seeing greater levels of return or greater levels of success, that they sort of highlight actually that, that there's a journey there.
Sure.
So let's talk a little bit about, because actually I think, you mentioned it earlier on about your AI ops capability. So we saw a few years ago Helix or ITSM moving on to the Helix platform, and then what was the TrueSight stack, migrating onto the Helix platform. So what are the kind of, what are the benefits that customers are seeing from this convergence onto the same platform? And tell us a bit about that.
Sure. So you're absolutely right. In the past, we've had customers that have run a service management excellence framework and used our technologies very effectively. And we've had customers sort of under the TrueSight banner of products that have run operational management very efficiently. Based off of, some of the same principles, have an intelligent brain, be able to understand the, reference to a CMDB, for example, to understand how the applications fit together, and then drive some service or some operations processes on top of that. We've had customers who do that very successfully, and have done that very successfully. The reason that we've converged both of these, I would say, is for 2 reasons. One is because there's so many opportunities for automation between service and ops management. You take the scenario of a war room, for example, that I think most of us can probably relate to. You've got a major incident. If these 2 are siloed, then you've probably got tickets coming through the service desk. And then, maybe at that point, you figure out that there's a big issue here. So you get some of the operational folks on, and you get some other support guys on from application and infrastructure and network. Then potentially they're reactively looking at some of lots of siloed monitoring data to try and figure out the root cause. And often it will be a process of elimination to figure out, okay, this isn't application, this isn't software, or this isn't the infrastructure level. The old cliche is blame on the network before you figure out what the issue is. But if you take that scenario, if you've got service and operations management on the same platform, if you're proactively monitoring the environments, and it could be across multiple different monitoring stacks, you've got an event management layer that can leverage intelligence from CMDB. You think that there's a problem, you can straight away look at not only the monitoring information and event information, but you've also got the service management information there to analyze, things like changes, for example. So you bring that data in to try and get to root cause. And we can go into more depth around the capabilities that we've got within the AI ops space, but we've got really advanced AI that can now analyze this to get to a predictive root cause. We then send over the information with business impact to the right team to let them know what we think. We're 99% 100% sure that it's a network switch that's causing the outages across all this other shared areas of infrastructure, this is the recommended fix. Or even better, let's be predictive. Last time we saw this trend in the logs, there was a major issue. So let's trigger some automation to stop it from happening again. So, touching the CMDB, syncing cases out to the teams, letting the service desk know that there's an issue, analyzing changes as well as your event and your metrics, being able to analyze service and operations management from a data analytics point of view. And I could go on. There's so many benefits of having service and operations management on that same platform.
Yeah.
And are these all modular components, Jamie, or is it kind of all out of the box? Is that a stupid question, perhaps?
Yeah, so they are modular in the sense that once you've got the platform up and running, then it's a case of being able to switch on the different modules that you want to have access to. Now, I don't know if that was a leading question, Dan, into how we license things, but let's just address that. Yeah,
sure. But well, that'd be great to understand and get some visibility to, certainly. But I was just curious again. I was going to comment really that what you've described there is, instead of having those disparate systems which are somehow connected together, you've got that single pane of glass view, and it's intelligently bringing all of that information to the surface to expedite a response, whatever that might be, right?
Yeah, that's it. And I did mention that there are two reasons why we bought service and ops management. Conscious, I only talked around one around the integration. The other is the level of AI which we're managing to drive into our new platform. So, in general, the amounts of data which is available in all organizations is increasing exponentially, which is quite an obvious point. But also, as organizations are modernizing their compute and they're going to cloud and they're using more container-based applications, and they're wanting to integrate via open APIs, so many touch points and so much data that's been transacted so quickly, where some of these containers can stand up and stand down within a split second. So too much data to be able for humans to be able to handle now. So that's one of the other areas or reasons why we've brought this onto the same platform, to get scalability and to embed the AI into the platform.
I think this is a real point of differentiation for BMC. Yeah, I mean, yes, there are other vendors out there that offer similar solutions, but I would say that there is a trend in the mid-market, small enterprise space of more simple is probably the wrong word, but perhaps less complex, if that's just saying the same thing again with more letters. But, service management solutions, right? More kind of plug and play solutions, but they don't offer this level of insight into the way in which, as you said, the various components of infrastructure within an organization actually fit together and work together.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we haven't sort of mentioned the broader enterprise service management as well.
We should do that. Please do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so this is sort of one of the other areas, I guess, that we would differentiate between us and a mid-market solution. Is lots of what I've talked about so far is IT for IT, but we've got vast experience and capabilities on our platform across enterprise service management. So, and this is part of the reason that we touched upon earlier of why we appeal to so many different verticals and so many different markets. But we look at some of the, let's say, shared services across these different areas, like your HR, your finance, your procurement, legal, facilities, workplace management, etc. We've got comprehensive capabilities on our platform to be able to serve those different areas of the business. And, also, I'd say a point of our differentiation as well is, and I love your mug, Dan, I've just realised your mug. I'll have to get
Sorry for the distraction, Jamie.
for next November. I must get that. Yeah, so we've also got lots of other shared services on the platform across different verticals that are unique to each of those verticals, because it's easy to be able to, no code approach to be able to create your own workflow within these areas of the business, or creating a new catalog entry within their self-service catalog that they want to offer for their unique part of the business. So we've got many dozens more other unique shared service organizations, or types of shared service organizations, that are using our platform across many hundreds of customers.
I would say, Jamie, feel free to shoot me down, but I think BMC's been a little bit slow off the mark in terms of bringing that kind of ease of enterprise service management solutions to the marketplace. But your view is that you're there today, so we don't have to worry about what's gone on in the past in this instance, but you're there today in terms of how to easily extend the platform out to outside of IT.
I mean, I would say, if you look back into past 5+ years ago, when we had Remedy that wasn't an ITSM solution, and you try and bend that to fit service manage or wider shared services, and it's worked successfully in lots of cases, but with moving on to the Helix platform, we've got something that we call Innovation Studio, which has helped us to rapidly build out and have the flexibility. So I would argue we've had the flexibility for many years. Potentially where we've lagged behind is the out-of-the-box content, which we absolutely have now. We've got hundreds of workflows that serve all of those different areas that I've talked about.
Yeah. Good, that's good. So can we just talk really briefly, we don't have to go into this on depth, but another point of sort of differentiation for BMC is that you retain your on-premise offering.
I was going to ask this. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dan, I've stolen your fire.
Screen time. It's always taking my lines, Sunil. But yeah, that's something I wanted to call out. A lot of SaaS providers out there, purely SaaS, but BMC do retain that. You can have it on premise, and I see that works very well across certain verticals and organizations, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've got a proportion of customers that just will never go SaaS for various different reasons. The primary one of needing an air-gapped environment. So, our containerized Helix platform is absolutely available to our on-premise customers. Our roadmap of that vast roadmap of new innovation that's bringing to the market, we are bringing out SaaS as well as on-premise. So yes, it's a point of differentiation for us for sure.
Is it difficult? I mean, and this is maybe not a question for you, but perhaps some of the folks in your solution or your sort of product teams, is it difficult to manage those two roadmaps, the SaaS and the on-prem roadmap in parallel, or is that should customers be aware of some differences there, or is it seamless?
Yeah, I mean, could be beyond the depth of my knowledge from a technical point of view, Sunil, but the fact that we offer a containerized platform in a similar way that we run it to SaaS now on premise.
Yeah.
My perception of it is that it's much easier.
Yeah, that makes sense. Good stuff.
Good stuff indeed. Well, I hate to be the timekeeper, but I do notice that we're coming up to the sort of 30 minutes that we're trying to keep these interviews to. I don't know if Sunil, Jamie, I mean, very interesting discussion from my point of view, certainly. Any kind of closing comments, any sort of final points you'd like to make, Jamie, before we shut everything down?
Just to say, if you are a customer out there thinking that you want to drive maturity into service and operations management, you want to look at serving other shared services and line of businesses as well, then I'd argue that BMC is absolutely a fit for you. So yeah, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, or if you have my mobile or email, please feel free to reach out to me in any channel, I'd love to speak to you.
Yeah, you know, and Dan, just to say, I would concur with Jamie on that organisations in that situation that Jamie's just described, BMC needs to be on the short list, right? They should be reviewing it, having a conversation with Jamie or one of his peers, and actually looking at the solution in some depth.
Absolutely, get an evaluation. Yeah, indeed. Right, well, thanks again, Jamie. Really appreciate you taking time to join us. Thank you to all of those who've tuned in with us live. You know, please leave a comment. It'd be great to hear what your thoughts. If you've any questions or you'd like to find out more, again, please get in touch with Jamie, Sunil, or myself. And stay tuned for the next episode coming soon. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you, Jamie.
Up on screen.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot.